Hello friends and fans, welcome back to John HG Gaming. This is a recording of a Wargame Airland battle. Here I am trying to create a British deck, a pure British deck. So I'm gonna do it right now and maybe highlight some of the good stuff to add on and maybe what not to add on. Alright, so I for the logistics, right, these are the essentials, stuff are considered essentials. I recommend the Sultan over the Rover because the Rover has offers no protection, whereas the Sultan offers some armor. I find that the Chieftain Mark 10 is too expensive. It is very well protected, but it's very expensive and you can only bring one. So I guess the Sultan is more of a good intermediate. So the Sultan, Elvis Stewart, and FOBs are very key. Chinooks I think is more of a situational kind of thing. So that depends on your play style. Now I'm gonna bring in some infantry over here. Let's bring in some AA. There are two types of AA over here. One is a blowpipe, one is a javelin. And if we look at the range of the AA, we see that the blowpipe is 2100, the javelin is 2200. It's more accurate. 6 accuracy for blowpipe, 10 for javelins, so I'll take the javelin. I'd like to take a cheaper javelin, so I go for a 15 plus 10. I'm going to bring in 8. And I'm going to bring in some ATGMs, ATGM Milans. I'm going to bring in some too. Now I'm going to bring in some Marines because these Marines are very good, and we can see from this logo here, if I'm not mistaken, they are the Special Forces. And Special Forces get a buff over regular infantry in terms of the rate of fire. I think it is something like an additional 50% or 100%. I read it on the forums. Right, so I'm going to bring in some as well. So these three would mainly consist of the essential infantry stuff. I'm going to bring in some support. I'm not a big fan of bringing artillery because they consume too much supplies, but I will bring in some motors. So let's bring in some. Rapiers are the AA. I believe they are the only vehicle AA available to the British. So I'm gonna bring in some. I recommend trying to bring in a little bit more depending on your playstyle. So let's keep it to 2 first and we'll add on if we have enough points. Now for the tanks, right? I find the British tanks are a little lacking. The Scorpion light tanks are very weakly defended, so it's more of like a one-shot kill versus the, as in when you encounter the packed vehicles or packed tanks or any ATGM squads, your light tanks are gonna be destroyed instantly. What about these? These are, I believe, I'm not keen to using them because they have very poor accuracy. The only thing that The only reason that I might even bring them is because they have a 12 front armor for the price of 40. That might make it worthwhile. But I'm gonna go for the Challenger. I'm gonna go for the Chieftain Mark 10s. I think they are key. And the Mark 5s. The difference between the Mark 5s and the Mark 10s is the accuracy, as you can see, as well as the front armor. So the Chieftain Mark 10s are a little more desirable. But there's one thing that I should highlight, which is if I were to go across all these units, right, you'll realize that the range of these units is only a maximum of 2275, and this is way lower than what you would generally see for packed vehicles, which can be as high as 2600 to 2800. So you would be outranged. So do not go head on with pack tanks. Right, I'm going to bring in some recon. I'm going for the ferret over the fox because the ferret has very good optics, whereas the fox has only good optics. So for a cheaper price of 35 and getting very good optics, that sounds like a good deal to me. So I'm going to bring one of these. Right, there are two types of recon infantry. One is the SAS, one is the green jacket. The difference is the SAS has a blue pipe, so it can do AA, whereas green jacket is more of ground, anti-ground kind of troops. So I'll generally like to go for green jackets because I think I should have enough AA. So I'm gonna go for some of these. Now vehicles, I like to bring in ATGMs. First and foremost, bring the Rover Milans. Bring as much as I can. They are 2400, so their range is pretty decent. The next would be the Strikers, is 2600, so these are even better. So I'd like to bring the Strikers. If I do have leftover funds, I want to bring in some Wombats, Rover Wombats, but that will have to wait. Now, Lynx, there are two types of helicopters. One is Lynx AH1 and AH7, TOW 1 and TOW 2. You'll see that the range is 2600, they're the same. The difference lies between their accuracy and AP power. I tend to go for the cheaper helicopters because helicopters are very situational in the sense that if your opponent brings in sufficient AA, then helicopters would be pretty useless. But if your opponent is light on AA, then you can capitalize on them. Right, next we could talk about the planes. What I recommend is bringing in cheap planes, but a lot of them. So I like to have some Harriers. These Harriers have AoE, and these Jaguars have are clusters, hit and clusters. There's two types of Jaguars. I would suggest that going for the cheap one would suffice. The difference lies in their rate of fire, but I find that the Jaguar GR1s would be pretty good. We're gonna bring in some anti-aircraft and I would suggest bringing Tornadoes. There are Tornadoes F2 and F3. I would suggest bring the F2 because you can call in two of them. Whereas if you bring in the F3, you can only call in one of them. So Tornadoes F2 would be good. The other worthwhile choice might be the Harriers. Okay, you see the Harriers GR5, they have a range of 3500 against airplanes, and the Tornadoes have a range of 6300. These are better than Harriers, but the Tornadoes are not very good against ground. So if you want to have the best of both worlds, I guess going all Harriers might not be a bad idea. But one key point to note over here is that the best range for these British planes is 6,300 meters. And if we were to compare the Soviet MiGs, the MiG-31s, we'll see that there's a range of 1100 and above, I believe. So the British deck, if you're using the British deck, it would be very much outclassed both in terms of the tanks and the air against the pact and the Soviets. So this means that you got to play very, very cleverly, wisely, and bring more recon and stuff. Alright, so now we have a lot more points, 23 out of 80. We can bring much more. I'll suggest bring a bit more logistics. Let's bring one more Elvis Stewart and bring one more track rapier. I think we are pretty solid on the tanks. I'll let bring some more recon. I'll bring one more rover threat and one more green jacket. Now, as for the vehicles, I would want to bring a wombat. Now I have some points left. I'm going to bring in more infantry. I'm going to go infantry heavy. Now I'm going to bring in the cheaper infantry. They cost 10, whereas the Royal Marines cost 25. The difference is the vehicles, where we can look at the FV432 and the Warriors. I'll suggest going for the cheaper variants. The cheaper variants should suffice. So let's go for some Fusiliers. Bring in 20 of them. Should be pretty good. Actually, let's bring hardened ones. Hardened ones do not rout so easily, so they can deal a bit more damage. Alright, so the other thing I want to bring in is a bit more javelins, if it is possible. I think we're only limited to one unit of javelin. We cannot bring in more. So we're gonna bring in blowpipes. Now blowpipes, let's take the good ones, the hardened ones. And A bit more Royal Marines would not hurt actually, but I'm keen to bring in both Royal Marines and ATGM Milans. Okay, so Royal Marines, I'm going for the land-based one and not the helicopter transport ones. Alright. Okay, so my British deck, my plan is to use more infantry to hold the key points and to push using ATGMs and use my tanks to hold them and mainly use aircraft whenever I get any opportunity. So I maxed out my activation points. So I can go back and this is what my British deck would look like. And yeah, I'm gonna quit and the game will save my deck automatically. And I'm gonna try it out. So yeah, that's all. See you guys in the next episode. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.